Hello Blender folks, welcome back to Ephemeral. And today we're going to address, I wanted to show up some of the new findings, very uh, explosive at this moment, because I just find out that maybe there is a good hope for the CrazyRig, an experiment that I was doing with AutoIQ option. It's not the master puppeteer skeleton. This one is actually, yes, it's a sort of master puppeteer, but without IQ bone constraint. So it's the CrazyRig. It just employs the AutoIQ option. And apparently in Blender 5.2.0 alpha, because of a new feature that was implemented, a fix actually by Paul Hanson, a friend of mine actually, from the internet at least, but he is improving the auto IK option in Blender for more ephemeral rigging features like IK marks. The thing, I was already talking about that. You can find some information on the web. So basically this is very extraordinary development he's doing, but it will take a while and it will be in vanilla Blender. So with the new feature that was added, that doesn't, there's a little fix, but for me it means a lot because it's changed the complications of making the rigs. And now as I've been exploring this, maybe this CrazyRig I've been doing since mid last year, mid 2025 maybe a little before, I'm not sure. But now is that Blender 5.2.0 alpha is available, and with this fix already there'll be more fixes, more improvements, but with this single thing, which is already the only thing available at the moment, it is possible to change the complications of the rig in a way that is very valuable. And so what we see here is that I've been applying some techniques that I've been collecting, and so maybe they could be done before Blender 5.2 alpha, right, which will be the future LTS, Blender 5.2, but for now. So even though we are relatively close in the best case scenario to regarding these upgrades, vanilla Blender upgrades to the auto IQ option, regarding more ephemeral rigging features in Blender, even though we could get a revolutionary thing in the next few months, right, already in 2000, that will be awesome, but still, let's say that something else can be done that can contribute to that or not, I don't know, but I found stuff that here are very interesting. So it's a build-up of what, so you see there's a lot of things, just one file, I have many tests and this goes crazy, but now I've just, so let's go for the thing here. So what I did is that usually on other versions, I knew that if we split the rig here, we can pin the joint, and we can also pin the joint from just this selection of this bone. So we can do like the pinning of the tail joint here of this bone, but then we can do some other stuff in order to mimic an IQ bone constraint through this feature of auto IQ option. But the problem is that this forces the rig to be splitted. Even though now with the fix we can just use a offset parenting here instead of a set of bone constraint local copy location, copy rotation combo to have this bone have no parent at all. So then the pinning would work like this, right? But in order to pin this and get here, we just need here a limit location, and this limit location would be something that I'm procuring more recently. It will be this kind of limit rotation here, right? So this is driven. This is just to allow a double behavior here, dual behavior here. So as we lock this with here, you see that this mechanism hand, it's a buffer bone actually, right? It doesn't, it's a buffer bone and also a mechanism bone basically. So it's having multiple features involved. So you see you have this behavior, and if we scale this up, we get this other behavior. So what we're doing here is something that I think I've already experimented this before, but I couldn't reach any good conclusion out of this. So a lot of people have been trying to do, even myself, I think, maybe not a lot of people. Some people have been addressing the idea of simultaneous I key and F key by trying to get the F key inside the I key bone layer, because like dependent of the I key. But in this case, because I'm using the CrazyRig, which is an auto I key option, we have simultaneous I key F key already, but we have to, in order to add the pinning feature for the auto I key skeleton only, this is tricky, and that's all about the splitting. But I found today or yesterday, well, or I've been thinking about it, and then I found out after some new attempts at this stuff that we can actually split the hand and do some very crazy things here that I've already procured months ago. I knew that was something. So for example, so this is the wrist. Now this is the control forearm. We can grab from here. We have the auto I key length, right? You see I can grab, so yeah, there's no pull target, but it works well. It's the same principle. You see the bone is start bending. We can rest position is bend in the main direction of bending, right? This is what we want. This also works for auto I key to make the posing more natural. So what we got here, of course, if we want, we can invert, right? But why would do that? Yeah, we can do break the joint, right? Animation technique. So it's very simple. We don't really need a pull target here. And look at this. So then now comes the secret that I'm gonna show finally. So if we get this pin hand, instead of splitting the skeleton, the master puppeteer skeleton, or the control auto I key skeleton, from the shoulder, that between the shoulder and the, yeah, on the shoulder joint, basically this joint of the shoulder, not the one here closer to the center of the body, but this one, right? Then if we get this multiple selection, yeah, this goes nuts, but I don't think this is a problem, because I want to try to fix that. But basically you see that this will be the master I key bone, but see, no master I key, there's no I key bone constraint at all here. It's just a pinning, and I can basically, and here is the thing, you see that this is a mechanism bone that the tweaker rig and the deform rig would be part of this bone. That means that I'm making that, even in spite of the control rig is offsetting here, it's okay, because I'm saying that it's like an I key stretch, but it's just a stretch to bone constraint. It's not an I key stretch, but it sort of mimics the I key stretch without the horrible thing that the I key stretch does. And there are some projects, mini projects, to fix the I key stretch thing already in Blender. So like it scales all the bone. We just want the Y scaling or something, right? So there will be options for this in the near future, I guess. And I think Paul Hansen will be able to do that actually. Yeah. So basically here, if we grab this, we can do this from other bones as well. So you see that I can pin without a key option. I can pin the joint. And so imagine that ignore what's happening here, because even if it's keyframe, right, it's okay, because you see the hand stays there, the wrist stays there. And this is happening because with the buffer bone we have a limit rotation. The parent, okay, you want to know what is this first, right? Maybe, so let's look at this first. So of course all these bones are connected, like this is the chain, right, the regular skeleton, and I've just made that this splitting in the hand, in the wrist, in the neck, it also easily allows for, after we solve this problem, right? It's not all solved yet, but I think I'm very positive about this. So here we can also pin the head very easily with this trick, and see with the range we can pin this, is crazy. Yeah, there are some issues about this because this is not IK bone constraint, and so the neck bone doesn't start to adapt to the head, which is kind of bad for the deformed rig, right? But maybe there will be another solution for that. I need to check. But even if not, well, we'll still pin the head, it's fine, and we can maybe do other stuff, right? And how does, so there are caveats, but this is the best I think that I could achieve so far in this new version, and I think this is very powerful actually. It's a good proponent, and this I'm still not sure why it is happening, but I need to, it doesn't seem to cause any problem for keyframing, because these bones, yeah, we keyframe them because they are part of the chain. So what's happening is the following. So this bone is just a bone here that is parent offset to the disconnected, right, of the control forearm. Its parent is here, so it just follows some displacement here of bones. So no, this is just the, oh yeah, I see. We can probably solve that. There are some slightly offset structures here. Let's reset this one. Okay, no problem. Okay, so this bone is the first, the pin hand is the one that we use to pin. If I don't select this bone, you see that we have this, and then I can just scale this to have this behavior. This is a thing on the master puppeteer skeleton which I was doing before, so I just adapted this same idea here. I think this is very practical. Yeah, we need to sacrifice the scale of the bone, and we need to have a tweaker hand to manipulate the scale, because I don't want to be scaling with this bone, for example the fingers, right? And so anyways, so you see how it goes, a series of experiments over years or months, years, that end up getting some good stuff altogether. So okay, then this bone is just parent offset instead of the combo of that we needed before with an unparented bone for the auto IK option pinning feature, the reverse IK, right? So see, we have reverse IK here. I mean, this is reverse IK because from here we have these bones. They are, it's like a hinge, right? What's happening is that this is the first, it's connected to, no, it's disconnected. It's connected to, oh, the bone is reversed, right? Ah, I made it wrong. Okay, they look very weird, right? I need to fix that, but I'm not gonna fix this now. So basically, no, this is correct. Okay, this is the, no. Okay, I confused here about the shape of these bones. Block wrist. This is the first. Oh, okay, okay, because the bone is moving here. Okay, you see that it's. What? Oh yeah, okay. So it's because what's happening is. Okay, so this bone here yeah, we see the child is there. So yeah, this is immediate child. This is garbage, right? Let's fix this. So we need to pick the first one. I wanted to do something like this, right? Or so it goes outside, right? Outwards. It could be any direction actually. This is pretty crazy, right? And this is the one. No. This is the one that I want. Okay. Then from here we can just do this. Maybe we can do this. Okay, now we talk. So basically, now it's clear. So what we want here is to have that this is the parented connected to the pin head, so that it's a continuation. So I start to make it straight, but we can make it going up. We can do, I decided to go backwards because it mimics this whatever. Yeah, actually maybe it's better to do like this. Just to show that there is no problem here, it will work nonetheless. So we want to get these ones here. I'm using this envelope because it's easier to, not easier to manipulate them, but we can get these strange shapes which are better to define them in the end. I think it's a cool idea, even though they still look weird, right? So here we just changed their how they are oriented here, but that doesn't matter. They could be, this is clear enough. So what you get is that now if I pin, we have this hinge here. Like it's very clear here what we're doing, right? So this is connected, no bone constraint here, no bone constraint here. It's just connected, it's just auto IQ option in place with the pinning feature. So this one is unparented to the control 4R. So you see, this is pure F key, but as I don't pick those bones, right? They are just automatic. We just through auto I key. As you see, we have the hinge working, and this will make that this bone here will stretch. So we're sort of mimicking, already mentioned, the effect of how do you say? We're just trying to mimic the effect of the pinning, right? In a sort of a weird way, but that works. So this is the bizarre thing, right? Apparently this is master hand. Yes, we want this to. Okay, I don't know why it is not doing the thing properly, but it doesn't matter. So we got here, if it's something wrong here. I feel like there's something wrong on this stretch, but it's just a detail, we don't care. So and we can grab into rotation, we get also some effect. So G to reset and fix, there's a bug, right? I've already reported that. So here, how does this end? It's not sufficient to have one sliced or unparented thing. The connection then connected to this, right? Then this one, which is the mechanism bone, is the one that is unconnected, unparented. Not disconnected parenting relation offset. Just as this one is offset to this one is offset to the last one, the locked wrist. It's not locked wrist, we could call it hinge, I don't know how to call this stuff. It's actually, no, let's call hinge, right? Because it's exactly what they are. They are very specific type of bone functionality, right? And we need to keyframe them, so they need to be in the viewport for animation, but we don't need to pose them directly. However, we probably need to be looking at them. Yeah, so in the end we might want to have them as wires, right? So anyway, but we don't pose them directly, although we might want to delete their if we change things here, yeah, things could be a bit bad, right? Yes, we pick them, yeah, it also works. But here you see the bone doesn't move, so we can do that, but I think it's not important. Okay, so you see I can do F key, I can do I key, I can control here, I can do this with I key, but we can do this with F key, and then you see the behavior of the hand there. So how does it end? Sorry, I didn't conclude the demonstration. We need the auto IQ option, okay? Then, okay, this is unparented, disconnected to the last hinge bone here. And so what it does is that with this slicing and this slicing, here this sliced parenting and this sliced parenting between these two, right? Then when we grab this one, we have the pinning of the tail of this bone, the tail joint of the first, yeah, because this is reverse IK, right? True auto IK option. So what happens that then this bone here, which is parented here, offset, it needs to have a limit location so that well, limit rotation, sorry. There are other ways, I believe, but they are very crappy. I think this is the best one so far. So if we don't have it, what happens is that the bone starts to go not crazy like this. This is I don't know why it's that, but it starts to rotate in some mean way that is useless mostly, or barely useful. So we just lock all the limit rotation, so it will work as a buffer bone, right? So we better just change this. So with these buffer bones, they are, no, why do I see, oh, there seem to be more stuff in this rig. No, I don't understand. Hold on. Oh yeah, it's just this. Okay. No? Okay, so buffer hand, oh, it might be this one. Yeah. Because I duplicated them, yeah, so scrap it. Okay, now this is correct. So what we do here is that we have the limit rotation by default. So remember, it is parented here, so the parent doesn't really matter, because you see this inherit rotation, location is fine, but rotation, yeah, this is very bad for this bone, so it's not good. So we need to make it ignore this. So I found a way to, instead of bone constraint into an extra bone, so let's just limit the rotation, limit local with parent, so it respects from the parent. We don't care what the parent is doing, right? So and turns out this were affect transform, then maybe this is not sure this would be. No, I think that glitch crazy stuff has not to do with that. Okay, so just this, so it negates all the rotations, and then but the bone still the bone, no, so this bone now, the master hand, which would be like a master IK hand, but it is not. So notice how interesting and how crazy Blender can get. So basically this seemingly like IK bone constraint, even color it in red, IK bone, master bone, right? So for the hand, so note that it is parented to the buffer hand. Yeah, it's parented here. So that I made this because then we can reset. But not only this, we can reset and we can you know what I'm gonna do, right? Because this is our IK option arm skeleton, auto IK option skeleton. That means that if I do it doesn't matter if this is true IK or not, you see we got instant arcing, and we can still offset this with, I think we can sort of, yeah, this disrupt the curvature in some mean way. Yeah, we can totally do that, right? We can. Okay, now I think it's not doing the stuff anymore, but okay, you got the idea, right? So we have the perfect arc, because instead of this time I decide to parent the bone. We could use a fake parent bone constraint to do that, but I've decided to use this technique because it will solve a lot of other problems, maybe with caveats. But if I parent it to the CUG, we would lose this hand parenting for reset, right? So it is very good because on posing we want to have the reset, and then this bone, then what it gets, we have some driver which coming from my choice here, the Y scale. Didn't lecture here, but I did a limit scale for this bone. Then we'll need some anti-scale buffer bone. Don't think it could be this one. We might need a new one for this. I'm not sure right now. And this anti-scale bone, it will be the parent. It will move with this one. It will just be the bone to allow that this bone, that when you scale this bone, the rest doesn't get scaled anyhow. So it doesn't matter right now, right? So what we get is that, so imagine the rig is going here, right? Here, of course, there's a little problem because I don't want actually to do a linear interpolation here in the geometrically. I want to do this, right? So if I want to do this and this, I would have to use this and then do this, right? So then I would have, you see the difference? Just a proof demonstration, right? If I keyframe this and keyframe here, this is working as a loose bone in this case, as you can see. And then, if you don't know, there is, well, there are other ways, but yeah, we could like try to get, go somewhere like here, and then we go here, and then from here we could try to use the, I don't even not pivoting it from anywhere. No, ignore this. Yeah, so the idea, where is the 3D cursor, by the way. Ah, it's here. Okay. So that means that if I were trying to pivot this from the 3D cursor, then we could do this, and then we... It's not a good example here, so it doesn't matter. So then we can interpolate, like the curvature not be very good still, but there's a way that can solve certain things, but it's not ideal. Anyways. So what we do here is that was straight, right? Linear interpolation, geometrically, and then let's do different, the same bone here, but now we do here, and let's do XX, no, Z, no, Y, no. Ah, it's that thing, right? Insert keyframe, and then yeah, that we need to use this, right? There we go. So you see, it's this bone that has, and it is suffering the good arc of motion. Usually we want this, but there are some cases that we might not want. I'm still not sure when we don't want. I think when we want to do some Nike stretch, when we want to control this stuff, right? But anyways, I'm not experienced enough in 3D animation and rigging, like in the production aspect, to really know exactly why it would not be, because for me the arcs are spontaneous ideal arcs of rotation. They are good. Of course we might want to be more flexible, but we are, because the loose bone will allow to stack on top of that. I think this is somewhat one of the best things, to be able to stack a loose bone which does only linear interpolation. Well, not only, we need to make multiple breakdowns of, then you start to get some curvatures, but you need then a lot of keyframes, right? So then you see that we get the bone here, so we can do this, we can reset, so this is very handy. And so this is how this thing works. Oh, I didn't finish. So here we have this system. So this is the buffer bone, and the master hand is parented to the buffer hand. And there's also these fingers, and which can do all pinning because of the same principle, because actually this bone is unparented, and there is another unparented. What is the logic here? It's just because this is a chain connected here but disconnected here, and because I'm grabbing anything else that is on the other side that I can, if I grab this one without IQ option immediately, well, this should not be picked, the mechanism, but this, yes. So I can try to GR, so you can grab into rotation, try some different rotation. This is auto IQ option, right folks? So it's rotation, G into R, grab into rotate. So this is a secret trick. And then when we release and validate, there's a glitch. We need to G and for click, and then we validate. So it's a reverse crap, but we need to then just fix by some. It doesn't work on all conditions. Unfortunately, there's a fix that we're gonna do. So here, if we pick all of them, we can all the hand, and this is, we can do this from here or from any other bone. Actually, can do this, right? So feel free to, yeah. But this one rotates better. So if we want to, so you see, you have the F key, or we have the reverse I key, or we have I key. Aha. And you see, I'm not doing a single switch. So how crazy this is. This is old system, but the way I incorporated this here, instead of having one bone, I decided to have 3 bones. Then to solve this, we'll have to get this into a selection set. like control fingers. Yeah, whatever, control fingers. So basically this is, forgot to use this one. So that means that if I want to grab everything, we just do a Shift A and control fingers, and there we go. And if I want both sides, then we can, yeah, except that then I'll have to do this, right? Why? Okay, it's because of this. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it's just the left one, right? So maybe it's whatever. We master limbs extremity. This is because of this behavior, I guess. Yeah. So this is an annoying thing. I couldn't find the ideal solution because because the parent is already used, so I cannot just parent this back. And when I try to use a fake parenting bone constraint, copy transforms, fake parenting bone constraint, it didn't work. These create some, not stacking transforms exactly in the conventional way, but it creates some interactions that I'm not sure what is about, and that's horrible. So the idea is that when we gonna rotate the whole rig, we're gonna get the, and by the ways, note that this is actually aha. So you see, I don't need the parenting because it's already parented to the rest of the rig, so it's moving. So fortunately, this is not anymore a problem for me in this rig because it's auto IK, it's all connected chain, so, or it's parented through all this system. So what we have here though is that you see the bones are lagging behind, so no problem, because if that happens, the only thing you need to do is grab the master limbs extremity and do the rotations, right? And let's make sure that yeah, these one are not fixed, but you see that for the rest it's all working. So is the head working? The head is not ready, I think. Wait, I think I need something to fix there, but the rest seems. My mouse is crappy. Okay, you see, it's not lagging behind, it seems fine. Select here. No, it's not entirely working. I'm not sure why. Maybe we need to have this at the center. Yes. And if we got this as the last bone in the selection. To be fair, I'm not sure if I have an illusion, but the head is clearly not working. But if we add, oh, of course, this is the master torso. It's not what we need. We need this one. This is the COG. COG is just because, of course, it's confusing. We need to probably need to change this. It's very crappy. I just do this to get it out of the way, right? But it doesn't get so much out. I need better widgets for this. It's just a new file, so I don't care too much, right? All this stuff. So we just gotta get the torso here somewhere, like below, and that should be good enough. Okay, so here we got the master limbs, and now as we can see, the head and the hands, they stay. And just to make sure that these interpolations are not going nuts because of this multi-selection, I'm not quite sure that will be good, but let's try to Of course, you need to remember to keyframe, because now they are being posed as loose bones, right? Of course, you need to alright, so maybe they are not the perfect curves, but I think this will be enough to get it to work, right? And this is the master tool, so it doesn't count. This is because it was not meant to make this it shouldn't grab the, yeah, so if you don't want to grab the, yeah, so you see one problem here. It's not actually, is that the limb is actually doing here, right? But you see, this doesn't solve all problems, because now this is not doing reverse I key here, right? So this is a little problem with this rig. Yeah, so there are caveats. It's weird, right? But it doesn't mean that it is particularly bad, in my opinion. I think maybe it compensates, because yeah, it is different. I'm still trying to procure the stuff, but the advantages are a lot, right? We cannot pin the joint there. We're gonna use a node setup, right, for pinning joints. Like here it's easy because we can just split, right, in a strategic spot. But in the case of the middle of the arm, this is not good, because in the middle of the arm then we'll cut the connection, and that makes the control skeleton really poor. So that's why by displacing this, instead of being the shoulder joint, we place it here, and then some more crazy stuff there. The disconnection will be here, right? And then we can between here also, and between these two, and then we can get, as we grab here, with some at least a more auto key length, then we can have this stuff, right? So you see, this is not, I don't think this is that bad that the limb doesn't react entirely. I think there's advantage to this, and if we can just reset here, or we can try to reapproximate, or if we move here, of course. So you see, it's a bit tricky, but the thing is that it's very interesting. And here, let's say that I want to yeah, so you see how the hand is moving. It is like default, right? But I can do this anytime and get the hand moves like this. And this is just a keyframing thing, and it's gradual, right? Okay, this is done by having a driver here. There's what missed in the limit rotation. So this driver a bit tricky to calculate, to get like that. Other ways, this multiplied by 4 combines well with, let's say, this maximum scale of 1.250, because this is like 1/4 of from 1 to 2, right? So that will allow us to, once the scale goes like once this scale is reaches this, the maximum, then this thing will get 0. And if we just oh, it's not entirely working, right? It's delaying a little. My mouse, I mentioned, it's double clicking. I have to change it. Yeah, so my calculation is wrong apparently, so it says it doesn't really go to the very end. I made some wrong calculations. I always forget this exactly. I have to do this rethinking all over again. I have to note in accessible place, whatever, opening a blend file to look for that is just too crazy, because there are a lot of variations of this stuff. So basically what we're doing is that it starts at a negative scale. So usually the scale is default is 1, so it's not like the other default location and rotation, which starts local coordinates starts at 0, right? In principle, if the rest position didn't change at all, it starts at 0. So here it starts at 1, so that's why it started -1, negative scale, plus 2, so that will make the total as 1. So this is the total, and with that means that when it is reset, we want this. So this is default, it starts at 1. And then I did all this just so that I could get the multiplication factor from here, although I don't like to use the driver's editor for this, but yeah, we can add a modifier. So I don't like the workflow because it's already poor enough to do this stuff from driver. Super bad design in Blender. They work, they can be lifesaver, but they are a good idea, but like there are a lot of problems around them, including symmetrizations. It's super annoying. So, and here we get so we're adding then the same thing. So this will zero out because scale starts at 1, so this is a 0. So it's not multiplying by 4, yeah, it's multiplying, but it does plus 0 in the end at the start, right? So if we start to grow the scale, then it means that we'll get oh, I see what's going on. This value is not what it should be, right? Because it's not like I'm not multiplying I'm multiplying what the residue, the remaining of this, and not just the 250.250. Yeah, it's somewhat the opposite. Yeah, I can't think about this, so I have to make some tests, but it was almost right. If it's not 4, what should it be? It shouldn't be 5. No, it certainly is not 5, but well, now it's not working at all. Script insertion. Okay, so update dependency. Yeah, so we're just back to the. Oh yeah, of course, to test we need to do this, right? So I wasn't able to test actually. Yeah, there is a. I don't think this is normal because I wanted the value here that it is too tiny, right? So it's always. This is why maybe the best way is to use the modifier. Yeah, let's use the modifier. So here you can get whichever value that feels more comfortable, right? Screw the equations with Python script because it is just the problem is that the modifier is somewhere else. I might forget. Okay, so we want to edit driver, gonna take this off. So all this we can just say that we want a start at 1 that is scale yeah, start at 1, right? Augment scale Oh no, we need to mount the scale, right? And then of course I want to multiply. The question is multiply. Yeah, I will still have to. Yeah, so whatever we do, this is a bit tricky. The other case scenario is easier, is when we have start at 0. Yeah. There's a more simpler way here. I think the negative scale here is important. And since it starts negative plus 2, it's -1 plus 2, it's +1. So that's then it keeps growing the negative scale, right? And that solves the problem is that we then have to get here, and then we get let's get the modifiers and add the generator. Then we get, I think was because I never used this, I don't really know right now how. Yeah, and certainly we'll need something else. Need to, yeah, with the mouse also it's not contributing to. I need to urgently buy a new mouse because this is super annoying. Yeah, so Shift F5, here we go. Let's try here. Okay, let's see. We need here. Yeah, so here I have a bit slower scale, so it's safer because scale has this bug, right? Or this behavior which is inverse scale. Even if it's locked, it's horrible. But yeah, at least here it's safe enough. And if we want to do slow motion to have some versatility here, we can have a better selection, right, of the moment of the gradation. But it seems to have matched, but I'm not sure because we need to check. No, it didn't match, so we need to multiply it a little more. It's like remaining 0.600, right? So why is this doing that? No, this is doing the reverse influence. No, restricted frame. So I think constant, there will be a constant here, maybe. Probably. No, maybe this one. Okay. 0. Why doesn't make it? Why get that? Oh, now it's actually doing. Now it's disabling it all the time. Yeah, no, of course. We want. Let's try this. Yeah, you can check the results from. Yeah, it's matched at 0, but it's not. That will destroy the. What's this influence? Maybe we need a... No. Okay, we can see that. Const order. Polynomials. No, I don't think I did. So maybe it's something about the constant 1, maybe. Yes, start with 1 and then okay, so this was the trick we needed to... Okay, so this is much simpler if we know what to do. So basically the coefficient, like I'm reproducing the driver, essentially the scripted expression. I need a constantly the default scale. I think it's 1, and then not 0, it starts scale always at 1 usually, and then we got to get this x potency 1, that is that coefficients for x starting from lowest. A coefficient for... Okay, coefficient, it's not the exponent, is just its coefficient, and this is the constant, so it's plus the constant plus an integer, something like that. Yeah, in this case it's an integer. Then this is exactly what we need in order to match this stuff properly. That was what I was looking at. No, it's not. Let's see. Ah, there's still some values. So it's not yet there. Not yet there. Interesting. So not like that. So it is mysterious. Okay, so apparently we need this coefficient to zero it out. And now it's just not working anymore. Yeah, great. Stopped to work for some... Oh, maybe I just misclicked that. No. Okay, so I just decided to... Why it is leaving... Yeah, so... Additive? No, this is not... What I'm doing is somewhat specific, so it's not like... Let's see... Maybe we can solve it from here. Like, where is the 0 here? Okay, 0 is 1. No, still insisting on that, and this will make it stop working. It's super weird also. Also here, when I find the right result, it just can't. Yeah, so this is very strange. I think that is this. No, this one could be something. So I'm not here to do that. So this is garbage. I don't know how to use this stuff properly in this case. So I prefer the old way in the end. I thought that will be simpler, or there are a lot of tutorials of this stuff, but then the UI is crap and the solution also is crap. So to simplify, it's good that the maximum here is a less handy value for, yeah, we can use something like this. This will be more straightforward, right? Still good. And we got here, you see it's halved, and here we can just multiply. So I get this, I think it was this scale. Times 2. Is that gonna... No, it's starting at scale 1. Start at 1, 0. Why it is doing this? Oh, this thing. No? No, not that. Almost there anyway, so got... Oh yeah, the scale needs to be negating, right? We are adding a... Is that gonna work? No, it's not working. No, not this again. Okay, let's... Yeah, my mouse is... I shouldn't be wasting so much time with this. It was working somewhat already. I just need to fix it. Okay, I have the formula here working somewhere else. Let's just copy here. Okay, minus scale. Okay, so I got something like this, and times 2, and that should do. And yeah, so it extrapolates then for some reason, but that works, right? So okay, so we're gonna just keep this this thing here. I'm gonna pick the bones here, make them Control Shift V just to copy this, right? And then I'm gonna edit driver manually. And maybe we needed to update dependency. I don't think, usually it works straightforward. But even if it's not perfect right now, I can find a solution later in a fix, but this is what we want. So you see at the very end, it is right, but that's fine. for the demonstration here. So now we're gonna see what we need to do in order to split the rig properly. We're gonna clear this off, clear out this stuff, because this is an old setup where you see where we're splitting the we don't need this, fortunately, so your simple is better, right? So you can disconnected, yeah. So if the bones here are not exactly in the center, there's a bug I've reported. We need to do this manually because you don't see the details here. So if these bones are not exactly in the center, it's super crappy. This doesn't copy data, copy auto selected. No. Yeah, maybe this doesn't work, I don't know. But this is super annoying to fix. It's okay, let's do this. So now I'm gonna reconnect this stuff, and here reconnect. I think I did. I don't know what's happening to this bone. It seems to be a bit incorrect. So right now this is unparented. I'm not sure this is correct. I was trying something else and I forgot to. I don't know how this bone will react actually. The system will react right now. So here we want, yeah, it's connected. We want this one to be the command body, yeah, connector, yeah, body connector. So what this means is that will be the bone that will connect everything, but I think this will fail here because see, this will propagate the F key. Yeah, it will propagate the F key. But before we do, we have to solve the bones here at the basement of the feet. Then we'll see if we'll have to do anything in the spine, which is a very complicated area to develop. But here we're gonna reproduce these systems. Convenience. We're gonna connect. So you get it automatically at place. Should it be aligned here with like this? I'm not sure, so let's just leave it like that. As for here, should it be like that? Now I want to, let's do like this. Then for the names, wrist, let's call ankle, hinge, then strip characters, right? That is correct. The parenting relations is the same, so and is it ready? No, we need now this to be aligned with here. We can get this to match here. Let's reset this. So this is parented offset. Alright, you need to fix the drivers. No, the drivers don't exist, so you have to copy driver from paste driver edit. So this will be like the bone will be the master foot left. It's like we are something didn't work times 2. Okay, that's strange. Copy driver, let's try again. Okay, this master foot left. Then we get copy driver, paste driver, did driver, straight foot right. Then here, what about, yeah, we got just the same constraints, limit scale, right? And then this we could do some variation on this. It doesn't look very nice here for easy picking. Stupid mouse. It's impossible to. Okay, let's do this manually. Okay, that should be enough. It's not working. Probably some auto I key. Oh, need the auto I key, of course. No, it was an auto I key, so maybe more chain linked. It's probably the parenting relation or some missing. Yeah, so control chain left. Right, control thigh left, control right, control pelvis left, okay, hips sway, hips okay, spine, chest, torso, center where this is some. What is this bone tree? Where is this bone tree coming from? Very weird. Anyways, it doesn't matter. What is this thing? I don't know what the hell is that. Is the origin of the... Yeah, it's the origin of the... Okay. All these have... yeah, great. Foot. Forgot to, yeah, do this like this. Input. It's not the names here which are making the rig not to work, because the different from drivers. This system is smarter. Hinge, this will fix. Okay, also you see that the armature. Oh, the armature is correct. Okay, it's just that there's some data here. Can be that, okay. Skeleton. Just to differentiate, but this still not working. Why it's not working? We see that it's not splitting, so it might be that something wrong about this control sheen. Yes, no, it seems to be connected. Okay, we need to set disconnected. I forgot to disconnect. There it is. So now it should pin the foot. Yeah, but the foot is not responding in the right way. There's a lot of things that don't seem right. Control sheen, yeah, apparently it's incorrect. It's trying to get the buffer. Yeah, I'd love to have this threadle, but the wood bone, let's leave it there for now. There we go. We have the, we need also the, this thing here. Parent it here, hip offset, then we got set this. Directly to here. And symmetrize, and now not here, like this one. Now we got this. Yeah, so you see the sheen would be, we don't see very well, but it will be here. The deform, right? So you see it's easy to control, right? And there are a lot of, until we can pull the stuff, it still will be fine, right? And so where does it come in handy, this rig? That's also a mount this thing. I'm not satisfied with this. Have to do something like this for now, right? Why it's doing this? Yeah, because we have a two. Okay, I need to address this question now. What should we do with look how crazy this is, right? The CrazyRig, yeah. So in which rig in Blender can you do this? There is no such thing. Yeah, there are some rare stuff like simultaneous that but it's more tricky. This is just one skeleton. Well, there are some convenient layers here and there, but they are like very specific. It's not like you have a big skeleton of this stuff. Yeah, the mechanism for sure, yeah, that they form. But yeah, you see the control rig is mostly in just one bone layer. Like it's very simple in terms of the amount of controller. Oh, and how do you do the pinning? Well, it will be something like this. Let's hide this for a moment, so we not be complete, but there we go. We can also do something here. This certainly could be very inconvenient, right? But it's sort of, we can reduce the hinge, right? But it's like what happens if we pin the not using the right way to do so. We need to expand here, right? What is happening here? This is a bit crazy. Yeah, I need to mount the. What is happening? Okay, the leg is here, right? Yeah. It doesn't seem to be messing up with the proportions, I think. But if we want to have like both, then we need to do this. And if we, yeah, it will be the case to get like all this together if we want like the pinning of, we might need more, right? Like pin. So that means that if we grab this and if they, no, yeah, I needed to assign. You see, we have everything pinned, and we have this, but if I master, then we can do this, and these are archable stuff. Okay, we see that something is missing for these ones. What's happening with these ones? Okay, so there's one last thing that certainly there will be more experiments to do here, but essentially most things that seem more critical, they are working. So here we can have this, right? I want to see if we can operate with this one. Here we go. So it's not exactly what I needed though. Oh, I see the problem. Yeah, the hip sway problem is because in order to activate this, you need the I key, reverse I key, and for this I need to activate it, but then we start to activate the whole spine. So maybe this, okay, okay, let's first try to fix this, that I don't know what this is about. It's probably because of the parenting. Command body connector. Yeah, so we're gonna make this is the trick. How, yeah, it's not the full trick, there are more things for the mechanism rig later, but it's tricky. I can show in my main rig so that I will remember exactly how it should be done. But here we're gonna connect this here. We'll call this a lock hips sway. Gonna and this one will be then parented to so here this is probably because of this parent to the control hip sway. So why this is splitting like this? It's very weird what it's doing. Maybe I messed up some data here. No, okay, so we gotta just yeah, it insists in getting nuts. It's nothing to do with these bones. Something to do with this connector. But it should be like this. Maybe something about this Blender version. Oh, maybe, hold on. No, it is going upward, this is correct, and this is going downward. Something about that bone seems to be incorrect, right? Let's remake the bone there. But its position is just like that, right? So it's just one bone. Yeah, it might be a bug in the end of this version, fortunately. So this one we get, it's not a hinge bone, although yeah, it's sort of, but its functionality is different, and we can lock differently from the hinge. If we lock, they get limited and we can't get the proper setup. So we're missing the lock action. No, we are missing this to be here. So now this connects the whole spine, but here we get no, wrong bone. It's this one. And here we solve something for the mechanism rig, which is a tricky part, right? But not too complicated. Let's just open the So this is not the same rig. This is a master puppeteer skeleton rig. This is a hybrid. It uses IQ bone constraint and auto IQ option, but at least for the fingertips there's something a bit like that. Yeah, the same system there regarding the fingers, similar system. But this is the previous before Blender, even though this is the same Blender, but okay. So here what I want to look is the mechanism. There's not two deformed bones for here. There's actually just one mechanism. The mechanism hips, and this is what matters. So it's parented offset to the control hip sway, the one that is pointing downward. And then it uses a fake parenting to make just another parent, but fake, through bone constraints pathway of transforms, and this is parenting relation pathway of transform, but essentially it's a fake parenting, and then custom so the custom space before regional mix, local space target, and then we get that good result that even though there is some slight offset, this totally works in terms of deform. That is, in my opinion, this is safe enough. Yeah, we need to go back here. It's called named Super Rig, but it's actually still the CrazyRig version, last standing version for the time being. So here we means that if we want to reproduce it here, we can get a bone like this, then align it with this, maybe. Yeah, the orientation I haven't checked, but it shouldn't be a problem. Just like that, and then what we do is we need to take off this stretch 2. So currently it will follow the spine there, right? Wrong parenting still, so okay, so it's doing this, but then we're gonna have it doing this, and they stack because of the mix. Now we got this, and we can still manipulate. So it's sort of do some sort of in between, right? Which is handy. I think there's some disconnection here. Maybe. Oh, I think it's like that. This one. Oh yeah, this bone. It's actually a pinner because it's the last of the chain, right? So just checking if everything is correct. Okay, everything seems to be correct. And this one we can parent, yeah, we can totally parent this to the yeah, and one would go crazy with a mouse like that. Mouse is horrible. Parent this to the master torso. No, not to the master torso, I think the COG is more likely. Actually, I'm not sure right now. Okay, so this is the CrazyRig. I should share this version here in my Gumroad for free, and also in a link for, because the idea here is to share, right? So I'm just trying to making this long stuff. So this is just ideas, right? It's not that this is the yeah, it's very weird, but it's sort of technically it can do stuff, right? But I see the, yeah, so this is the thing that I was, there are more problems. This is why I'm still using the hybrid, because there are things that are not very easy to manipulate. It's like it's a suffering there's to get certain things to work here. And so of course there are caveats, and eventually turns out we can find some things that are not, I don't know if you see what's going on, but yeah, there is this scaling problem there with the, . now let's check this if we can. Yeah, we have a hip sway here. That seems nice. Mostly. And yeah, there is also this problem. We can pin the head on demand, very sort of. But it's not like the neck is so we can still stretch the neck with right, so this is not necessarily a problem, but the fact that the control rig adapts is actually good. This is something that the Ike bone constraint does. So this is the problem. The auto Ike doesn't have Ike stretch. In some way it's good that it doesn't have, so you can create the arcs of motion. But the problem is that also it doesn't stand just as an Ike chain from an Ike bone constraint. They can't stand very well, lots of bone constraints. So it's the same thing, so it's equivalent. So even the auto Ike option is even more reluctant to intake bone constraints. So it's not about dependency cycles, it's just that it goes nuts. It becomes impossible to animate because you have to have a insta glitch that reapplies and transforms. You don't want to see that. Yeah. So in spite of all the findings, right, that I've made, the rig is still difficult to pose. Some things are very pleasant, like of course this F key thing with the I key right there. In the beginning, if we focus on certain things, it's really good, right? But as we want more features, it starts to bring some questions if how good the rig is as a possibility of sustaining this. And so here is one of them, that the hip sway is not as good in my opinion as the hip sway, that also because of this other stuff, right? And then something about the manipulation of the whole skeleton, because we don't have the I key bone constraint by default, the pinning by default. We need to be grabbing this, right? Have more of those things. Then what happens that we don't have this. There's always this offsetting here, which is annoying to see. It's confusing, right? It's like not clean, so it's like really experimental. It's as far as I could got in these new findings, but no matter apparently what they do with this, it's always at the state of auto IQ option. Here I'm using one little upgrade, and it allowed me maybe to go a little further, which is kind of good, right? To be fair, it's very interesting. It provided some more insight and maybe one step further, but this is still not good enough. I prefer, even though my other rig, like the hybrid, even though it has trouble with arcs, this one absolutely has no problem with arcs for the most part. So it's perfect for arcs, but this one has a lot of issues with arcs that some I just can't solve, or they need extra bones to solve the. So I was solving some of them, like, but it's very annoying. Like, I had to make this extra bone just to deliver some of this, or these bones here. Otherwise, okay, they do the arcs for but they don't do the arcs for themselves. If we are trying to do, let's say something, I don't remember even what I was trying to do, but yeah. So you see you have a like an infinite list of arcs that because in the end the bone in Blender is always a loose bone if we pose it like individually, so it doesn't, Blender doesn't know how to interpolate like the trigger bones in F-key. It's horrible for 3D animation in many parts. So this rig is very practical, and we have in spite of some caveats, and notably what is really bad about this rig right now that I identified luckily in time is that some arcs are not spontaneous, right? So, and it is the case for, so it's solved for these ones, which is good, but there is probably the ankle leverage system that I've made, and also for any other thing that use the 3D cursor, which would be an ephemeral rigging feature, especially if it could solve this interpolation, but it actually can't very well. Well, it's we need some patching, which is not that it's effective, but it's tricky and it can get on the nerves, right? So folks, that was it for today. So I was trying to present this CrazyRig. Maybe I shouldn't be exposing that. Yeah, maybe I share. Yeah, I'm gonna share just out of curiosity if anyone else, but it's very hard to oppose. It's very frustrating, so I'll just make it available so anyone can check what it does, right? Maybe someone can get better ideas out of that as well, just for the fun of exploration. But essentially all this research is for something like more spontaneous 3D animation in Blender, and if we call that ephemeral rigging, fine, but I think in the end what we want, especially 3D animators, is to, at least as an animator, this is what I want. I want a rig that is really like a puppet to control, to pose, right, to animate, and I want everything analogic feeling, like of real concrete stuff, right? More spontaneous, organic, like as if we were drawing, but it's just an analogy. Drawing, making clay animation, puppets with armatures, real puppets, all that. Pixelation, which is kind of stop motion with the body, so want something more spontaneous than pixelation stop motion. Well, there is none, in the sense that you can insta get the pose you want, usually, right, with the pixelation. And this is what the overly analytical art of CG, right, 3D animation, that technique is particularly still overly analogic. It's good that it has all this analytic power, right? The curves, the X, Y, X, Z, Y, W, rotation, all those things. You can look for like a high dose of analytic detail to get the ideal framing for a timing of animation. But that will go rapidly kill something. When I do 3D animation, I don't use, I try just to avoid the curve editor. For me, it makes absolutely no sense to be animating with that. It's garbage. Like it's good if we want maybe industry standard, some aesthetic states, but I'm old school animation. I like the 12, also from TV shows. I like this economical animation stuff, like so I don't really care too much about other aesthetics. So for me, curve editing is for noobs, right? No, it's like I use for cameras at least, but imagine you already had a lot of keyframes to adjust, rotation, location scale XYZ times 9 if you want, or 10 with the W rotation. Then you go for the curves, and you have the keyframes, which can be constant or Bezier, and then there are other variations that you want to also edit each single of those curves. No, thank you. I don't. This is not 3D animation for me. It's like it's madness. Like, I don't know who liked that, but maybe they were born inside a computer, like serial experiments lanes or something. No, there's taste for everything. I'm just joking, but it's just too alien for me. Maybe one day I'll get used to curve editing for 2D animation, but for me it's just like absolutely alien. I like to make my animation just with keyframe. It's totally possible. There's the brick downer thing, Shift E, right? This one. There's also some options here. I just use the brick down, but those also have need to explore a bit more. But with this, we can just fake break down stuff with handiness for the like it mimics a bit the curve editor, in my understanding of spacing and timing. So it takes just too long to make the curve editing. I think it's not overly analytic system. The keyframes are channels already is that, but then you can go if you want to go hyper analytic, yeah, go for the curves. And then but for me that kills the joy of animation, so I don't animate for that. So, but it's certainly something to be learned. So I've been learning the curve for the especially for the how they say the handles, right? That's kind of funny, but finding still the channel of the curves I find super confusing. And then I tried to use 4 cameras, and it's already very difficult, so I don't see myself doing this anytime soon. And my experience, I was able to do very good animation, cartoon animation, pony stuff, right? With just without any curve editing for the character animation. So for me this is good stuff, right? So explore, just keep framing, no curves in the birds. Okay folks, that's it. Sorry about enough chatting. We'll see you next time. Then we're gonna bring this thing. I think I'm not gonna be building the CrazyRig anymore. I think I'm convinced of myself that in the state of Blender 5.2 alpha, it's not maybe it's the end of this research, because the CrazyRig, because if Mr. Paul Hanson get the improved auto IK into Blender 5.2 LTS vanilla Blender, then in June, July, but or maybe before if possible, but that means that all this research, well, it's over, because what he's building is ephemeral rigging for the auto IK, more ephemeral rigging features for the auto IK option. Then we can, with a very simple skeleton, not the CrazyRig, a much simpler skeleton, we could do crazy stuff, real crazy stuff. And then we just can dump that project, because we already have the best tool at disposal. It'll be revolutionary for Blender, of course. I'll be the first one to want to use this stuff, right? And then even this rig here could be dumped maybe for about 60% of its development, even more maybe. I really can't know. So this is how the revolutionary this will be. Thanks for watching folks, take care, have a nice week.